hopefully not least, we come to dissemination and communication. I just thought I would start off just by telling you a bit about who we are. So we're from the Countryside and Community Research Institute in the UK. That's based at the University of Gloucestershire. And your challenge is to be able to say that word, Gloucestershire, by the end of the project. Gloucester, as you can see, the city of Gloucester is located in the southwest of England. There are going to be 3 of us working on this work package, myself and my colleague Julie, who's here, and also Nick, who is our social media guru, so useful to have him on board. The Institute is one of the largest rural research institutes in the UK. We have about 20 staff, and we're very much focused on social science, so economics and social issues and policy issues related to sort of rural matters. And we worked on lots of EU projects. We're currently working on 4. These are them, ReCare, Valerie, Pegasus, and we've just finished working on the Smart Soil project. And Julie's actually going to talk to us on Friday about some of the lessons from that project, which we think will be useful for SoilCare. So in terms of this work package, we see that the intellectual challenge for us and for you is to try and take the key messages and findings from this project and disseminate them as widely as possible. And to really try and make a difference with this project. And in order for that to work, we need to be able to get these messages out there. So what we're going to aim to do is try and find the most effective routes for dissemination and try and find the processes that will really involve people and mobilize them to take out those messages. And we see this very much as an active process. So dissemination is not just going to happen at the end of the project, but will happen throughout the lifetime of the project. So it's a process of knowledge exchange, which is active, and also diffusion, which is more of a passive process. And we have actually 5 tasks. So our first task will be the development of the SoilCare Information Hub. And Eric mentioned that this morning in his presentation. So this is going to be a separate website, which is just focused on getting the findings from the project out there. So it will be a central collection point for all the information that we produce. And will also be a sort of communication portal as well. And this will be the website address. And what I want to do is to try and make it as interactive as possible. To, if possible, have some sort of discussion forum and blog on there as well, so we can really get some stakeholder involvement. This is something that I'll need to discuss with Work Package 3, perhaps, how we could use this effectively. Because I see it really as a platform for learning and sharing, so it would be good if we could make it work. We've done something similar in the ReCare project, and what we've done there is actually have web pages for the study sites themselves, which are in their own national language, because we recognise that with an English-only website, it can be a bit of a barrier for projects trying to disseminate and communicate and encourage stakeholders to be involved. So if you can have web pages which are actually in the national language, I think that would be very helpful too. So that's our first task. Our second task is to undertake a review of the soil-related advice landscape at different scales. So what we want to do is get a sense of what the current soil dissemination and advisory activities are at a regional and a sort of country level, and also how farmers currently obtain information about soil improving techniques. And this information then will help inform our dissemination strategy. We'll be able to identify whether any current gaps in advice and dissemination. And also we'd be interested in finding examples of good practice of dissemination. And by undertaking this review, we'll be able to integrate our dissemination activities into practices that are already happening. So it would, perhaps this afternoon when we have a discussion, we could talk about some of the practices that you're already aware of that are happening that would be good to either integrate with or replicate. Our third task then is the development of the project dissemination and communication strategy. So this will set out our main aims and objectives for dissemination in the project. And we're interested then in setting out what we think of the key messages of the project, who we will need to disseminate to, who are the key target audiences, how we're going to disseminate, what are the most effective dissemination routes, the most effective dissemination formats to use, and when is the best time to disseminate. Not necessarily at the end of the project, there may be periods where we can disseminate throughout the project. So this communication strategy is actually due at the end of this year, at 12 months, but actually we see it very much as a dynamic document, that it will be continuously updated throughout the project as we get sort of feedback from stakeholders and getting a feel for what would really work in terms of dissemination. And so then work package 4, this is the main nub of the work package really, is operationalising the strategy. We see that there are going to be around sort of 4 different levels of information, and this is where everyone is involved. All project partners are already involved in this task. So we'll have generic project information, we'll have project leaflets, we're using social media, press releases, hopefully a SoilCare film. And this will all capture what the project is doing. Then we'll have detailed technical and practical guidance, really more at the farm level. And then scientific information where we're disseminating to the scientific community, and then policy recommendations, policy briefs, which Jan talked about, and also we'll have the final conference, month 58, which we'll be organising with Work Package 7. And then our final task is the exploitation and sustainability planning. So working mainly with all the SMEs in the project, what we want to do is identify potentially commercially exploitable products and services, and then identify potential users, the target groups for those products and services, and then come up with a plan. We won't actually go as far as sort of doing the marketing, but come up with a plan how we'll develop that. So that's working with some of the SMEs here. Okay, so just in terms of timing then, so the information hub hopefully will be up and running in the next few months, and the idea is that with that hub is that it will be available at the end of the project. So after the project, that will be the main information source for the project. The review of advice and dissemination will really be starting now, and that will feed into the dissemination strategy, and then we'll start operationalising the strategy. All the way through we'll be producing materials, and then the exploitation and sustainability plan we'll start looking at that about halfway through the project with a plan to deliver it at the end. So just in terms of partner contributions, just wanted to emphasise that really everybody has time in this work package, so it's a task for everyone to be involved in dissemination. And because we've got some tasks that are already starting, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about partner contributions, what we might be asking from you in the next 12 months. So for the work package leaders, I'd like to send out a template on your planned outputs which we can feed into the dissemination strategy. So identifying the what, the who, the how, the when. So that will be in the next few months. And also the study sites, I'd like to talk to you about the existing soil dissemination advisory activities that are happening in your study sites, and perhaps that's something that we can just start discussing this afternoon. And then this is something for everybody really. Now's the time to start raising awareness of the project. So if all partners can try and actively promote awareness of the project, we'll be developing a project leaflet, We hope to have this translated in several countries and several languages. I'm not sure how many yet, but as many as possible. So we'll be helping, we'll be looking for some help in doing the translation and asking you to distribute these leaflets as widely as possible. If you could also signpost to the website, which is now up and running, the SoilCareProject.eu. Perhaps you could put a link onto your organisation's website. That would be really useful. Also, when the project leaflet is ready and the hub is up and running, I'd like to send out a press release about the project. So the idea is I produce a generic press release. I would send it out, ask various people to help with translation of the press release, and then ask you all to disseminate it through your media outlets and really raise the profile of the project, make sure that people are aware of it. And then using social media, so I think the social media should be an important part of this project. So we now have a Twitter account, so if you are tweeters, then please sign up. We've got about 15 followers so far, so we want to raise that and hopefully have about 1,000 by the end of the project. Is that too ambitious?
No, more 10,000.
So yeah, we also have just set up a Facebook group. This will be a sort of closed group for where I can invite members on, and I will accept members onto the group. But it's a really good way I've found of sharing your project activities, your study site activities, put up posters, and it's just a good way of communicating between us. And also, we're on LinkedIn as well, SoilCare. So if you use LinkedIn, then connect to the LinkedIn. So I think that we should all, try and connect, keep communicating, not just during this meeting, but throughout the project. And perhaps, using social media is one way of doing that. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful.